was.
Oh, so he gave you the recommendation,
Yeah.
pretty much?
Yeah. All right, so anyway, engineering's recommendation would be to revise Schedule 16, parking prohibited during certain hours, to allow parking on both sides of the road at all times except during snow emergencies. Ed noted that organized cycler would be strictly enforced during snow emergencies at the location, and cities should be notified of this so there's no confusion or misunderstanding. All right, everybody understand that? All right, so we have a resolution to revise Schedule 16 to allow parking on both sides of Van Buren Street at all times except during snow emergencies, as per attached communication from John Schulteis.
Parking on both sides.
Parking on both
So
sides.
it just seems like this is gonna create a kind of a problem, because the resolution or the communication originally came for handicap parking. Now you guys are working on, alternate side parking and doing away with it, which it was in the original communication, you know what I mean? So now everybody's kind of cut out of that. Because you're gonna vote on it tonight, and then you're gonna have it voted on tomorrow, so nobody will ever get to, I'm sure all the aldermen don't know what is going on here. And the Freeman and everything hasn't been notified, right? That you're voting on this issue and, right? The media and the open Freeman of information and everything, and they need to know what you're discussing and when you're gonna vote on this stuff. So, I know you probably talked about it in committee and then you referred it to another meeting tonight, and why was that?
Well, the
Because
issue,
we didn't have anybody, we didn't have John Schulteis.
Oh, you didn't have his thing.
Weigh
See,
in.
now that's another problem.
Now we have it.
Are we gonna keep waiting till the last minute to
Well,
get
I
this?
hope not.
Well, see,
There's
that's,
supposed to be, forms are being developed so that we can have this done. We don't have forms, well, we have
The
them now.
forms are now made and the website is up and active.
Yeah.
The Q alert is all good to go. This was tabled the last time because for
it's
whatever
tabled
reason.
2 months ago.
So now we'll be able to do this before we write up a communication and send it to you. We'll have input from the engineer's office.
so you're gonna wait, anybody wants to send something, they're gonna wait to even send it to me before they get a recommendation?
I was told to, and which I did for the following month, to fill out the form and send you the communication at the same time, so the engineer and you get it, and then by the time.
And
the-
I
was
don't have
under-
a problem, but my way would be thinking, communication's the communication. It comes in, it gets logged in when we receive it. At the same time, it goes to more than just the engineer, isn't there other people in the pipeline?
And
Ed, John, and that's it?
There. Everybody's in there. All the aldermen, you, this is all.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? This is, I would say to give you their opinion. But the aldermen still have to vote on whatever they want to vote on. Whether they want to go against this, whether they want to vote this in or whatever, but it's still your
we
prerogative.
did discuss that in the last meeting.
Okay, well, you all understand that? So this is just their recommendation. It'd be like
Right.
sending something to the county planner.
That hasn't
Strictly a
been, that
recommendation.
has not been discussed with all the aldermen, though.
No, because we just
Which
had
in-
the
which-
final
but the-
document
but
at the
the-
last public safety meeting, so I'm assuming today at caucus, Andrea would have spoken about it.
Okay, I'm just wondering, because that what Jim's point there, that, we have the final say in that is,
Right.
hasn't
They're
been,
just advising you what they
Yeah.
feel is the right way to
Right,
go.
John and I feel that this is okay to happen.
Right,
That's all we're saying.
Right.
It started out with the handicap, but due to the current situation they had there, it wouldn't have worked. After
yeah, 'cause
research,
they had no parking at all, right?
You're thinking Van Duzen.
Yeah.
This is Van Buren.
Oh, there's another one?
Yeah, there's two that are very shaky. They're both one-way streets. At the original meetings, John wasn't aware that Van Duzen was a one-way, thinking that it was too narrow to have two-way traffic passing with cars on both sides, but it is only a one-way street, so.
Well, not for anything, but the aldermen should check these properties out where they're gonna put these signs and everything and know what they're talking about, because we're relying on their recommendation. And if they don't go check wherever the signs are gonna be, I mean, they should have definitely picked up a no parking and a one-way street, don't you think? You
Yeah.
know, if I went to check something, I'd say, oh, I can't do that, there's no parking, let me see what I can do about that.
I know
So
Rita,
this-
Rita has been there several times. She, according to her, there were no signs that said no
There
parking.
currently are no signs on that street.
Oh, okay, then,
And people have been parking on
Parking.
both sides of the street for, 20 years according to Rita.
so there's a lot of faults here.
Yes.
So we went, we did a field trip out there to see exactly what's going on. We measured and we.
Well, that's what the alderman should do also, but I'm just saying. So we got that, and did an issue come up about recusing on a voting issue? You can't just recuse yourself for the hell of it. You have to have a reason, and I have to know what it is to allow it or not allow it.
At the finance meeting, I did do that. I did do that at a finance meeting because it had to do with the school system. And
Okay,
I
well
work
then
for the
that's
school
fine,
system.
that's all you have to say.
He did.
Okay, so that's allowed then, because you work for the school system, if you're voting something about
It was
the
about the
school-
stadium and the
Somebody else recused, I don't wanna get
No,
into
they
it.
didn't.
Somebody else did too.
On that issue?
Not that one.
Tony wasn't
They
there.
didn't give a reason.
At finance?
It was at a finance meeting, I believe,
Really?
yeah.
I don't
And
remember
believe me,
that.
I was through the Red
don't-
Will thing, and he talked at a committee meeting, and he shouldn't have, because he had a conflict, and he recused himself, or he didn't recuse himself, and that's trouble. He should not do that,
Right.
but if you have a bona fide reason, you definitely should do it, and I encourage you to, but if you don't have one, you just can't say, I don't wanna vote, because
Yeah, I didn't do that, Jim.
my constituents might get mad at me or something. you
No,
know
I
what
didn't do
mean?
that.
Okay.
I did it because I have a connection. I get paid by the school system. This is directly affecting them
Okay, so
and their
just-
bottom lines. You know what I mean?
No, I totally agree with you on that. I think the way this will work, you send your communication to me, I refer it to the clerk and pick the committee it's going to, and, well, it'll probably be public safety. They'll send the communication to the departments there to get their okay. And then, in the original, how long did it give you in the original,
Yeah, but that form should be filled out, so that's what we're saying. So when we send you a communication, that form will be filled out with the communication, so.
oh,
all
I
you'll
see,
have
your
to-
communication's
Right,
not gonna have
all
enough
you'll have to
information
do is
on it?
Send that on to John, and you can assign it to a committee.
Well, I just don't want to delete. Now, if whatever reason John doesn't do it, and he waits till the last minute,
Well,
then they're missing that whole month. He just can't come in on caucus night and say, oh, we gotta do this, I got
well,
to, you know what I mean?
We're ever gonna prevent everything from being an ideal situation, but I think that's good if we send a completed form to you, it's done. So John will get it in his hands, and hopefully.
I was under the understanding that when we filled out this form, it would go to you as communication.
Yeah, it's gonna go to Jim.
That would be the
Because I get
communication.
forms, believe it or not, from other people other than aldermen, and they're not filling any forms out, they're just sending a communication to them.
I don't think I don't know if anybody's used the form yet. I
I
haven't.
used it, I did
Did you?
both.
Oh, all right.
I was told to fill out the form and still, because the system wasn't completely ironed out yet, to still send out a communication, and I did.
Okay, I saw yours. I didn't see the form, but I saw your request. So everybody, you want to add anything, or something I should do differently, or we should do differently?
No,
or-
I think that's.
I think I would like more clarification on, the role of the engineer, the role of the
Well,
DPW,
Here's my opinion.
and the role of the alderman.
You go to your meeting and you don't have the information, vote the way you think you should vote.
Even if he is at a meeting, it's still up to us. No matter
Right.
what their recommendation is,
Just a
it's still our
suggestion
decision.
from the engineer and DPW, that's all that is.
All right.
You wanna throw
I think that needs-
Stop signs out there where they don't belong, that's fine, but that's on you guys.
And even if, because the other night John objected to something, and that's still our call. He can object, or
Right.
he can agree, that's still our vote.
Right. Okay, I just thought that needs to be made clear with this new form and everything that's at hand and the confusion that may be happening.
Right, and that's why I'm just trying to clarify anything that they might have a question on.
Thank you.
Okay. All All right, so we have a,
And you're okay with changing the one way and putting parking on that?
We're not changing one way, it's always been one way,
Okay, what about the other one?
it's all handled.
Are you putting parking in there?
Oh, it's,
You're allowing parking on the no parking street?
no, Van Duzen stays the way it is.
Okay.
Van Buren is still one way, traffic, or cars parking on both sides, except snow emergency. Van Duzen is too narrow for cars on both sides.
Okay.
all right.
And the misunderstanding was because it was on the books that that is supposed to be no parking, but there were no signs there. So people are already parking there, so we're just
Gotcha.
fixing the oversight.
Because obviously the alderman didn't know it because the older person didn't know because there was no sign.
Right.
Okay, so, somebody want to make a motion on that?
Motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, thank you.
And I think I just saw Rita walk that way if you wanted to
Alright.
ask her.
Yeah, because the second one, I have no information on this. Other than a request for handicap on 60 Van Buren, but there's no information attached that I see. I'm hoping Rita has it.
Everything has to go through the alderman at large on communications. Everybody realizes that,
We know
right?
that.
Okay.
Hey, Rita. Hey, Tony. Steve, where would you like me to sign this?
What?
Where would you like me to sign this? Just down on
Just
bottom?
cross, oh, well, Rita's here now, so don't cross Rita's name. Cross somebody else who's not here.
Rennie.
Okay.
So Lisa, you're gonna collect all the responses and staple them together for the
So what I did this last time, because it is very confusing,
Yeah.
how they come to me, but then I didn't know when they become communication, because it was new, and then it wasn't addressed, and then it became old, and, so this last time I went down and spoke to John, before doing the agenda. So we're still trying to iron that out. I have a folder of pending issues that I'm waiting to hear back on.
So
So
but
how
it's
would you
really
like it
just,
done?
it's
You
just
tell me
really
what you
just
want.
Ed and John, right, that you need responses?
Yeah.
Okay.
You tell me how you want it, when that.
Well, I wanna do
folder
whatever
comes
is the
through.
easiest to keep track of.
I think for our office, the easiest way to keep track of it is to get the final, once we get the final response from Ed and John.
Then send it.
Yeah, I saw this
Then
today.
send it as a communication. For us, that works better, otherwise, because I know there was
Because
an
we were
issue, we
waiting
had
for the
put the
engineer
same,
to
the
do an
same
analysis
one
of this
on
particular
twice.
street.
That was before this even
Van
started, that's
Dusen.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, it was
No,
right
it's
in the
been,
middle
it's
of
both
it.
of them, I think.
It was
Yeah,
on the
put it
book
on,
that
it didn't
there was
pass,
no parking,
and then this
but there were no
new
signs that people
process
have been
passed,
parking. So
and it went back
so
on.
allowing people to
And
park.
it just was, there's a lot of confusion, and I don't want something to fall through the cracks, so if it
Okay,
could
so
come.
it should go from these guys then to John and myself,
Yes,
then when we do the approvals or the recommendations.
right, either way, then that should be
Submit communication to
communication.
Jim, and it goes from there.
If that, when you send that to Jim, if you can copy me on it, and that's when it will become the official communication, if that's okay?
Yeah,
That
if
way
it's
it
okay
has
with the
all the
alderman,
information.
because there's another
That was-
leak, or, you know, there's
that was-
another possibility of being,
That was how it
Sounds like it's
originally was
missing.
supposed to be, and then last month when we were discussing it here, some of the aldermen were concerned that that
Right.
would delay it for an extra month.
that's what I'm
So
saying.
if I fill out the form, it goes to John, then he looks at it, but if he's looking at it last week, it would miss the deadline to be on the communication for October, so it would be on for November.
It sounds like it should be a communication immediately.
Well, that's one thing.
It should be a communication immediately, not, and they can look at
If
it and
this
give you
goes
recommendations
into the
later.
If this goes into the Q alert, everybody will be notified at once. Everybody, across the board, all the aldermen, aldermen at large, clerk's office, DPW, engineering.
So-
That's through everybody.
Yeah, I did get an email right away after I filled out.
So the
form.
communication to the president should happen at that moment, right?
Right? I mean-
Legally, it sounds like that's the way it should
Yeah,
go.
because it's like the raw document, and you don't want it altered anyway. And you
No.
want to be able to make sure you got it as I
Exactly.
sent it.
Exactly.
And
You just tell me how you want it done, and we'll do it, but
Okay.
I need to have a definite, this is the procedure.
Well, the
All right,
written,
well, I'll
re-
talk to you about it.
the written request to the president should probably be immediate, correct?
Right, but depending on when you guys can review it and do the analysis, it's gonna depend on whether it makes that month's meeting or not, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Correct.
it's-
Well, you
it should be typically pretty fast turnaround.
It should be like days, right?
Yeah.
Should. Well, see, that's why I think if I get into communication, it's gonna be at that meeting that it's scheduled. If you don't have the, other information, you still can act on it. You don't have to wait for it. If they didn't make the schedule, it's like, we do, the vouchers 3 or 4 times a month and make sure that they get paid on time and everything. So this is kind of with that, you wanna make sure it's flowing and you're getting it, you're waiting for the recommendation. A lot of times planning, we'll have a planning issue. Oh, we gotta send it out to the county and wait to see what happens when it comes back, and they have X amount of time to get it back.
It may be an issue that the DPW and the engineer don't feel it necessary to go out and take a look at.
Right.
So then what? Got to have that communication.
We
up.
look at everything. So
they're
it'll
probably-
be checked whether it's relevant to us or not and sent.
Well, I'm just saying, this is going on into the future, Ed, you know what I'm saying? So it's gonna it's gonna be, I know you guys are very conscientious, but, at some point, there may be a different engineer, that thinks that, I'm not gonna
Oh,
go,
you know
I'm
something
not gonna spend my
else?
time to, no, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying, or DPW, I'm just saying, this is a process that's going forward, we need to figure it out so it's clear and,
Because if I receive a communication from someone
what I'm
that's
saying?
not an older person,
I don't need to say that, you don't need to say
what happens then? They didn't fill a form out, so I think it would still come to me, and then it would be referred, and then it would come back, as a
So then,
positive, negative recommendation.
well, how would that work? Would you then have to fill out the form because it didn't come from an older person?
I guess so.
Because technically what we're saying is that it's gotta be filled out on the form, because that's the procedure, right?
Or on
So
Q
if he-
alert at this point. You can go
or on
on Q
Q.
alert yourself, fill it out.
Right,
It
but
generates
if
through everyone.
Jim gets something, which he sometimes does, before we get it, usually he would send it out to us to make sure that we
Yes.
saw it.
And then you would fill out the
And then
form.
okay, so that's how it's going to work, I suppose. Okay.
So whatever word it's for, that older person would have to do it. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
All right, we good? All right, item 2B is the handicap parking request for 60 Van Buren, part 2 of the equation here. However, I have no information on it. Do you have, I don't know who it's for, or a number? I have no.
I don't
info.
have it yet. I will, wait, do I have it? Although, and Ed okayed that though, not Ed, John
Well,
okayed that, right?
He okayed, but we need information on the,
Right.
Like a sticker
Yes.
number or
Yeah,
stuff
I
like
thought I
that.
We
took a
need
picture of
something.
it.
So we're gonna
A
table.
number, right? Don't you get the number?
number,
You
something.
need the number, right?
We need something, yeah.
Yeah, go on, Steve. I thought I took a picture of it. I don't want you to just wait for me to find it. But if I don't have it tonight, I will get it, as long as we're okay to do it. Right? Or you can't
We're
pass
good, yeah,
it until
he
you see the
approved it.
information.
But we can't do a committee report without the info.
Okay.
See, I always had a policy for handicap parking.
Mhm.
I would pretty much allow it all the time, no matter what.
Mhm.
But this process is gonna stop that because, you have to wait for the recommendations and everything, and I'll have to go,
You were used to allow, because people coming out of the hospital
Right,
need.
they don't need it
they
30,
need it-
60 days from now,
They need it
today.
1 week.
Yeah,
But this was an unusual case because
No,
of
I
the no
know that,
parking
I'm not
issue.
referring to this one.
No, in the future, will this bog down the process of allowing handicap parking in a spot?
Right,
Maybe we should talk about that. That's pretty important.
okay,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
These are people coming out of the hospital, need handicap
Well,
Can
parking.
you pass that then?
The only problem I have is that that kind of opens up to carving out items, and I think it'll get confusing if we start carving out items that are not included in this process, even though at this time, we're saying it's only handicap parking. But this is, the handicap parking issue is the one that kind of started this whole
It started the
ball
ball rolling. You guys
rolling,
had to put a
because
no
it was
handicap
not,
sign
it was
on the
not
street
cut
that
and
had no
dry.
parking period.
We couldn't make a decision on here. We needed input on this one.
It seems to me that we need to be cognizant of both, and we can't just say the process is in granite because there's sick people that are going to need parking, Steve.
Yeah, but they still have to, I mean, I'm jumping in here, they still have to, either way, they still had to reach out to the alderman. They still have to produce a legitimate handicap sticker that still needed to be brought to the committee before it could even
Right, so
get
this
it.
is
It
not.
still had to go through the process of being voted on by the committee and the common council. So I don't see where this is slowing it down at all. It's still, if somebody called me and said, I need a handicap sign, I didn't just say, oh, I'm gonna call DPW and get a handicap sign for you by a week. You said, you gotta come to me, or I gotta come to you, you gotta produce me a legitimate handicap sticker. I didn't have to would have to call Jim and say, can you put that on this month's or next month's committee, depending when they came. You guys would still had to vote on it, and it still would have to have gone to common council. So from listening to what you guys are saying, I don't see how this is slowing down that process
And
at all.
if we want to be
And
cognizant.
you have to let them know that this is not going to happen right away. It's going to take a while for you to get your handicap
And if we
parking.
want to be aware of the constituents' needs, then it's up to us. If the meeting is coming up and we don't have something from John or Ed yet, then make a call. Get it before the meeting. If
Jim-
it's that urgent that this person needs it, then it's our business to make sure we have that information available at the meeting.
Jim, has there been cases where you needed to get handicap parking quickly?
Yeah, I think pretty much, but we have a procedure. And if you don't have it on the Friday before the beginning of the month, all those communications will be on the following month. I always allow them in that month. So that's the rub.
That's the point where it's going to
And
make
public
that.
safety is like the last week of the month.
Mhm.
So, you got like 3 weeks, you could still get the communication and get it in committee. But now, say if it came in that third week, and you have to send it out and everything and try to get the approvals, you might miss the public safety meeting. Then you'd be back at caucus or.
Then it might be set another month back, maybe.
Or you have a
Motions
special
off
meeting
the
like you're having right now.
floor.
It might, but how many,
Well,
I
I'm
mean, it's
just
not like we
saying.
got 100 of them. I mean, there's only, we get a couple every month. I mean, it shouldn't be that big a deal for me to keep track of what I submitted to John and Ed for approval. And if I don't have it a few days before public safety, then I call them up and say, did you see that yet? Can you sign off?
I wonder if there's any way we can get, temporary handicap parking for these people who are in serious need. I mean, people with leg issues, leg and hip and those kind of transportation issues. They're going to need something immediately.
Like they had an accident yesterday.
So, I wonder if there's a way that we can provide them with temporary parking until we can approve through our process, permanent handicap parking. Is there a way we can maybe, Jim said it didn't come up often, but it did come up. So, it wouldn't be that big a deal for the DPW to go out and put some temporary, cones, I don't know what it would be, but to allow these people to get in and out of their homes.
I've been on this
after a
committee
surgery.
going on 2 years. That has not come up so far.
Yeah, and even if it's temporary, they're still gonna have to produce the evidence, produce their stickers and numbers and everything in order for them to get the handicap parking.
Yeah, but that would be, it would be almost instantaneous, right? You'd say, oh, here's my handicap park ticket. Look, we just got out of the hospital. I need a parking space. Can the DPW come over, set me up quick? And I promise I'll get all the information to my alderman. Why can't we do that?
And what if they don't? I mean, I had.
Then we remove it.
And I had
Well,
to just,
you have a
but then you got the
temporary-
DPW person going out to put the thing up, and now they gotta go back to take it down because it wasn't set. I had a person call me, wanting a handicap sticker or parking. I said, well, you have to produce, you know, I gotta get a legitimate thing. You can either drop my house, or I can come and get you. Never call me back. Why? Because they just think that they can just call and say, oh, I want a handicap.
I want a parking
I want a
spot.
handicap parking spot, and not know that they gotta have a legitimate pass and all that. Now, if in that case I did that, they would have went out, they would never have legitimate parking, they would have said they're gonna get back to me, never did. In the meantime, DPW's already gone to put out a sign, and now, months later, I gotta go and take that sign down, or that's if somebody says, oh, well, by the way, that person just, you guys put a handicap sticker, doesn't have a handicap sticker in their car. It's just,
But most
I understand,
times,
right,
a
but-
handicap parking sticker, for you guys to do an
That's the
analysis, it's not gonna
information.
take that long unless it's some kind of unusual
The only
circumstance.
time it's a
Because
perfect
this right
example is
here-
all we had with the one-way and the.
Right, but normally you would be able to
Normally
figure
it's-
out if
right.
somebody can get a sticker within a day or two.
Sure, yeah.
Who issues the sticker?
Hey, we'll just do it as a regular rule and see what happens, that's all. Handicaps.
Who issues the handicap sticker? Where do they get that from?
Is this
Police
something,
department.
Huh?
Police department.
so is this something we can talk to the chief about, a temporary one that will just say until October 31st or something like that? And then it expires on its own. We don't have to worry about collecting it if they don't follow through and get the information for a real permit, then it expires, that's all. How about we do that?
I don't know, that sounds a lot more involved than.
Yeah, I'm not for that.
Why don't we just let it go the way it is? And we'll see how it works. If it doesn't work, I'm sure the
Yeah,
older me, the
if the
first ones
problem
to
comes up, we'll
complain
deal
about
with
it and say, hey, I needed that, now I didn't get it.
All right, cool. All right, so back to this. I have a resolution to add handicap sign to 60 Van Buren Street, number 4849888, expiration 8183. Motion,
Motion.
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Okay. And with that, we are done. Motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Special public safety meeting.